Happy Thursday, everyone, and thank you for being with us here on the stream today. I'm Elise Seedy, and boy, do we have a lot of stories to get to this morning. But I want to begin with this one. This is an update to a story you might have heard about, the woman who was mauled to death. So let's get into what's new with all of this. DeKalb County Medical Examiner's Office has confirmed her cause of death. This woman was mauled by dogs earlier this week. So her name is Mynovia Tinsley, and she was found dead Tuesday morning at a home on Anderson Valley Drive. And according to DeKalb County Police, what they're saying about this is officers got there at about 9 a.m. They found her dead along with several dogs that appeared to have blood on them. So the medical examiner has ruled this a homicide caused by multiple penetrative injuries, of course, that being the dog bites, meaning basically she bled to death after this terrible, horrific dog mauling attack. Animal Control has taken custody of those dogs. I think it was around 12 of those, 12 to 15. Authorities have not released the breed of the dogs that were involved in this or said what may have led up to that attack. But again, this investigation is ongoing. But the new news with this, again, is the cause of death has been released for this woman who was mauled to death. They're saying essentially she bled to death after that attack. All right, our time is 11:01. Let's turn our attention to the forecast outside. There you have it, right? We got some raindrops, we've got some gray skies outside, and some warmer temperatures than what we've had as of late. So let's check in with meteorologist Jonathan Stacy for what is happening and when a change is going to be occurring. Jonathan?
Changes are coming, but I think we're going to be stuck in this soggy pattern for about 24 more hours at this point, and then the weekend is absolutely bliss.
Ooh, okay.
Good morning, everybody. You're looking at the wet weather. Here's a look at Fox 5 Live Vapor Radar. The heaviest downpours are stretching from west to east across the area, mainly to the north of the Atlanta metro area, and we're starting to now see that there are a couple lightning strikes coming from the heavier cells, and so that will be a dynamic of the storms that we'll see more or hear more as we get into the afternoon, and certainly by evening I think we'll crank out a few more rumbles of thunder. So here in the Atlanta metro area, there's a smattering of showers. We took you live to Brookhaven just a few minutes ago. They're at the corner of Peachtree and North Druid Hills, and it seemed to be coming down at a pretty solid clip there. We're going to find out that the rain is going to really start to kind of really pound as we get into the afternoon hours.
Okay.
So right now it doesn't look like it's too much in the way of intensity, but that intensity will build as we get deeper into the day. So let's go ahead and run through the clock and your hour-by-hour forecast here. Oftentimes when you see the yellows and certainly the oranges, reds, and pinks, that indicates that those are heavier downpours and likely going to have some thunder and lightning associated with them. So let's go ahead and run the clock through the noon, 1, 2, 3 o'clock hours. You can see a batch of moisture moves here through the Atlanta metro area out along I-20 to the east of town. There will be some periods, some breaks in which you get maybe just a 30-minute period in which you can dash out, do something really quick, but I would just keep my umbrella with me the entire day. Because you know, these things kind of have a mind of their own and they like to move their own pace. Generally today, what you're going to find is that these are going to be some slow moving cells. So it's now 3, 4, 5 o'clock into the afternoon and kids are getting out of school. The afternoon and the evening rush hours are kicking off here, and it looks like that's when we're going to get the most intense activity across the metro area. First for the North Metro, that's around 5 o'clock, but into the 6 and 7 o'clock hours, it's going to drift to the south of the city, and it's the south side that is going to get the bulk of the fanfare, not only into the early evening hours, but through the remainder of the day, through the overnight hours. We're looking at some pretty impressive downpours, and they'll continue to filter through the area. We're looking for really, really light shades of yellow here, or where you see there are brighter shades that will indicate where there's likely going to be lightning. So I think the lightning will be more of a common occurrence as we get into the latter half of the day, specifically talking to the post-sunset period. In terms of rainfall, it's going to be significant, especially when this rain comes down. It's not going to stop into the afternoon, late afternoon and evening hours. So models are now projecting that for those in the metro area along I-20 and definitely to the south of the city, you have the opportunity to get an inch of rainfall or more, and this is all over the next 12-hour period, tapering off through the overnight hours into tomorrow morning. Another component to all of this are the winds. Now, the winds are pretty gusty now, but they should not stay elevated for long. We'll look for those winds to subside as we get deeper into the day, going into the overnight hours. Your best opportunities for wet weather pretty much are all day long, but we'll focus our attention really on the afternoon and the evening hours. Now, it looks like there is a pretty solid tapering down of the activity as we get into the 11 p.m. period, going into the overnight hours, but I still think there's an opportunity that we could have a passing shower tomorrow morning with a 20% chance. But look at the payoff here. We'll start out your Saturday morning with a high temperature or low temperature of 51 degrees, looking for a high that's close to 70, definitely exceeding the 70-degree mark by Sunday with a high of 75 degrees. Now, the week to come, there's not a major downturn in the temperatures, but we will shave a few degrees off, and the skies will be a bit unsettled. I don't see any really big time rain chances. However, it looks like there'll be more cloud cover in place than not. So we want to really make the most of our weekend. No rain chances are hindering your Saturday and Sunday. Get outside and enjoy what will be a very spring-like weekend. And by Sunday, it will be the first day of March. The official start to meteorological spring.
You just dropped a lot on us just now. The very end of that, there was a lot there. I didn't realize March is, you said it starts Sunday?
It starts Sunday.
That's crazy.
March 1.
Oh my gosh.
They say it's in like a lion. So
here we go.
As long as the lion is breathing some warm air,
there you have
I'm all about that.
Right. We can get on board with that. Let me ask you really quickly, and you might have said something about this, Jonathan. I'm sorry if I missed it. There's a rain deficit. So is this going to do enough to really put a dent in that?
I think this will be significant, a significant offering of shower activity. Keep in mind, it's been raining throughout the morning, especially to the north of the city. And so for those here in the metro, you'll get a lot of rain through the afternoon into the evening hours. And with some communities punching out at least an inch of rainfall, that will definitely put a dent in the deficit.
Okay, so keeping it soggy here for a bit. Meteorologist Jonathan Stacy joining us. Jonathan, thank you so much. We appreciate that. Okay, we are going to turn our attention right now to what we know about plans for the Reverend Jesse Jackson. His life is being celebrated by Rainbow Push Coalition in Chicago. So it's been about a week, a little over a week since his death, and he is being honored with a celebration of life in Chicago, and that starts today. So here's what we know about the details of that. His body will lie in repose at the Rainbow Push Coalition's headquarters in Chicago on the south side. It's 930 East 50th Street, if you're familiar with the area. Doors open up at opened at 10. They'll be open until 9 o'clock. And what you're looking at right there is video of him being loaded, it looks like, into that hearse. Again, he will lie in repose on Friday at the headquarters, which will also be open to the public there as well. So as far as what's next, services in Chicago will precede formal services in South Carolina. This is where Jackson was born, and then head to Washington, D.C. next week. That's according to the Rainbow Push Coalition's website. So if you've been following the story, you know that he died of a rare neurological disorder that affected his speech and his mobility later in life. But a little bit about his life. Protege of the Reverend Martin Luther King Jr., broke with the Southern Christian Leadership Conference in the 1970s to operate Operation Push. And that was initially named People United to Save Humanity on Chicago's South Side. So that is where he spent a great deal of his life there in Chicago. That's also where he founded the National Rainbow Coalition that we know so much about today. Those groups merged in order to make all of that happen. But again, so the big story here, we're just, finding out what is happening as far as these services. So what's happening today is in Chicago. Services next in South Carolina, and then Washington, D.C. as well. But turning our focus now to a local story, and one that is certainly heartbreaking as well. You might have heard the news of that 7-year-old girl who was killed by a stray bullet. Absolutely horrific. An 11-year-old boy was among those who witnessed what happened with that. So we're going to hear from him in just a moment. But to give you some background on the situation, police say that they responded late Tuesday to reports of shots fired at a home on Tiger Flowers Drive Northwest Northwest, and that is where they found 7-year-old Zoe Price, along with her mother, who was suffering from gunshot wounds. Officers rushed Zoe to the hospital because of ambulance delays, so they got her there themselves, but she later died. Fulton County medical examiner identified the child, released her name. What they're saying about the mother, who we mentioned had also been shot, is that she's listed as stable and she is expected to survive. So certainly some good news there. Atlanta Police Department Chief Darren Shearbaum says investigators believe that shooting stemmed from some kind of a dispute that happened between two people about 30 minutes earlier. They said it was two men that were getting into it 30 minutes before the shooting happened. Police do not believe, however, that it was a domestic-related incident or that the suspect is a family member. So want to make sure that we note that. The chief issued a statement directly to the shooters. We heard him say, "Turn yourself in. We are going to find you." This is a loss of a child for all of Atlanta that we feel greatly is part of what his message was. He called the crime devastating, which I think we all feel when you think about the loss of an innocent child. Zoe, just 7 years old. And added that several officers are in fact having to receive support because of just the horrific nature of this crime and who the victim is here. So I mentioned at the top that neighbors are talking about Zoe's life and what this has done to them, how sad it is. So we're hearing from an 11-year-old and a neighbor. Let's hear what they had to say about it.
Just couldn't believe it. Just started panicking inside of my brain. My family didn't know, but I just went to the room and I just started crying because I just couldn't believe what I saw in my eyes.
Also, I think, do we have that sound from a neighbor as well? No, we have the little boy. Okay, we don't. But yeah, neighbors are saying the same thing. They can't believe that this is something that happened in their neighborhood and just the horrific nature of a 7-year-old losing her life in a crime like this. So as the search for those responsible continues, we'll be sure to keep you updated with any new information that comes about in that case. But want to get you to some other local headlines that we are following for you today. This was new today. 2 waterline workers were hit by a vehicle early this morning on Pike Street in Lawrenceville. So apparently this happened at about 7 a.m. It left one worker in critical condition. The other is in stable condition. So this a very, very serious situation right here. We're looking at video of where it happened. It actually shut down Pike Street between Culver Street and South Clayton Street. If you're familiar with the downtown Lawrenceville area, Croghan Street was also closed from Perry Street to Oak Street for more than an hour for them to investigate and just look into what happened with this. So all roads ended up reopening, so things are back up and running right now. It's still not clear yet if the driver stayed at the scene or what the situation was that led to this happening, and police have not said if any charges will be filed. But again, a very serious situation here. Those 2 waterline workers hit by a driver as they were doing their work there in Lawrenceville this morning. So if we hear how they are doing or word on that driver, we will be sure to let you know. All right, let's talk about this really crazy scene that happened at the Battery Atlanta. So if you are not familiar with this, 100 teenagers were gathered out at the Battery Atlanta over the weekend. Cobb County Police have announced 17 people, minors and adults, have been charged in connection with this gathering. So let's dive into what we know about this situation. 8 adults were arrested and charged on February 21st. For a number of things. It looks like riot, loitering, obstruction. They were booked into the Cobb County Jail, it's according to police. But 2 juveniles were also arrested and charged with possession of a firearm during the commission of a felony and also possession of THC as well. Those juveniles will take into the Marietta Regional Youth Detention Center. So 7 other juveniles were arrested for a variety of things. It looks like theft by taking, which is a felony, obstruction, a misdemeanor, and hit and run as well. The 7 juveniles were released to the custody of their guardians. Cobb County Police are saying that these charges do not include any filed by partner law enforcement agencies who assisted with the incident. So there could, in fact, end up being more charges in the situation. But the backstory here is police had monitored social media posts about a quote-unquote unruly large-scale teen meetup out at the Battery on Saturday night. Authorities worked alongside Smyrna Police and other partner law enforcement agencies to to be on top of this and to go bust up that gathering. Officials said that while peaceful gatherings are permitted, disruptive behavior is not tolerated. Several attendees were removed from the property that night. So it's been very interesting in our conversations with folks who either live or work around the area. Many of them expressed concerns about situations like this and said that it's not the first time that one of these unruly gatherings have happened out there. Authorities have not released specific details about what led to the charges, or really, what the backstory is on why this was going on out there. But a very serious situation, and you're seeing there on your screen, 17 charged, both juveniles and adults, for what happened out there at the Battery. All right, so we're going to turn our focus now to the Sandy Springs, Dunwoody area. Police have arrested one man, and they're searching for a second suspect after a string of early morning brush fires in the area. This is right along the area of Mount Vernon Road, if you're familiar. It said the first fire began just before 1 a.m. yesterday behind a shopping center. And then over the next 3 hours, crews responded to about 5 fires along nearby wood lines. They said some covered several hundred square feet. So we're not talking about just a small area here. This was, quite a bit of damage was done with this. Police later spotted a man, they said, near Crown Point Parkway, near one of these fires. Officers said he was throwing fuel and debris onto the flames in order to keep them burning. So they have identified that man. They're saying 58-year-old John Lamb was arrested and charged with 2 counts of arson. But the really interesting part about this is that while he was being arrested, while he's booked into jail, another fire was reported, leading investigators to believe he may not have acted alone. Police are now searching for a second suspect in this arson situation. No description has been released just yet, so we haven't heard who they may be looking for, any characteristics of this person. Fires were set along wood lines near roads and behind businesses in both cities. The good news here, no one was hurt, no major property damage was reported, but they're asking if you know anything about the situation to give them a call, and they're hoping that, this can eventually put an end to these fires that are being set in the Sandy Springs and Lawrenceville areas. Time check, it is 11:16 at this point. So a cell phone ban could be coming to a high school near you. So this is certainly noteworthy if you have high school students. The Georgia House has passed a proposal that prohibits the use of personal devices at public high schools. We have our Kim Leffler looking into what this could mean for parents and students and educators, and here's what she has to say about it.
The House passed this proposal that would restrict the use of students' personal devices at public high schools throughout the state. And while supporters say the restriction would improve focus, opponents worry about the students' ability to get in touch with loved ones during an emergency.
Cell phones are a serious issue.
For many teachers, the distraction is constant.
Interrupts instruction, and then it can become an issue with discipline.
Lisa Morgan, president of the Georgia Association of Educators, says devices pull attention away from lessons and often spark classroom disruptions. Last year, the state assembly passed a statewide block on all electronic personal devices during class hours at public schools from grades K through 8. Morgan supports expanding the state's current classroom device ban to include high schools,
so that everyone can focus on our purpose, which is teaching and learning.
State Representative Scott Hilton introduced the legislation.
Beginning of the day, the cell phone is put up, and then the child is able to get that phone back at the end of the day.
Hilton says similar restrictions for younger grades are already producing results.
We've seen that grades are up, test scores have improved, fights and discipline are down.
But some advocates are raising concerns about emergencies.
They don't want what happened at Appalachia regarding, again, all of the chaos to happen in their school system.
Victoria David would change for Chi points to the deadly 2024 shooting at Appalachia High School, where students used their phones during the crisis.
One of the first phone calls to 911 was made by a student.
The bill now goes to the Senate for further consideration. At the state capitol, Kim Leffler for Fox Local.
Georgia lawmakers are pushing bills to expand students' First Amendment rights in public schools, and it's inspired in part by conservative activist Charlie Kirk. So Republican Senator Ben Watson is sponsoring the True Patriotism and Universal Student Access Act, and basically that lets students engage in political activities, speak on political issues, and wear clothing with political messages on campus. Watson says the bill aligns with Turning Point USA's mission and also supports freedom of speech for all student organizations. Meanwhile, Democratic Senator Rashawn Kemp and House Representative Bryce Berry, they're sponsoring bills to let students participate in demonstrations, in government meetings, or school board events without facing disciplinary action. Kemp says the legislation would allow at least 2 excused absences for civic engagement, that's pretty interesting, basically emphasizing that such participation should not be penalized. So the bills come after hundreds of Metro students walked out last month to protest federal immigration enforcement policies, with some facing school discipline for their involvement in all of that. Well, something big is happening in the Metro today. Middle school students in Atlanta will get to experience a full airport simulation. Basically lets these 7th graders experience check-in, security, boarding, in-flight services, and it's part of a program that's called Passport to Change. So our Eli Jordan is joining us live this morning to tell us all about it. This sounds really cool, Eli. Good morning.
Live. It's really cool. I'm at Price Middle School, and I'm just beyond security at the simulation airport. They're getting students checked in, and you see a TSA giving them, doing their test and all that, and then getting checked in. Oh, PR person didn't get checked in, but we also have flight attendants here, and we have the airplane, and everybody's getting their seats and stuff, and I hope I get my window seat. But this is really cool. They're exposing kids to real-world scenarios, because a lot of these kids, they've never really even been to the airport, and, the airport's in their backyard. And I'm here with Katoya Tyson. She is the instructional coach. Hey, Katoya, how you doing?
Hi, how are you?
I'm doing all right. So tell me, what is going on here today, and what curriculum is this all about? Just tell me everything.
All right, so today we are doing an airport simulation for our Passport to Change program. Our Passport to Change program is a partnership that we have with Virgin Atlantic Airlines, and what we're doing is we're exposing students to the airline industry, different parts of the airline industry, cargo, sustainability, different parts of the airline, and we're allowing them to get a real-world experience to hopefully maybe one day they will be interested in the airline industry.
So this is a year-long thing, though. It's not just today.
Correct. This is a year-long project. The students are creating their own airlines, and at the end of the project-based learning project, they will have a culminating activity where they will present their own airlines to Virgin Atlantic staff at the Delta Museum.
Awesome. And then so the kids are actually going through the whole thing. They're traveling to Nigeria today, right?
They are traveling to Nigeria today, so they're going through the whole shebang.
Oh, I'm here just visiting. I'll be back. But and then also too, though, they get to really see what it's like in Nigeria. They got a VR session going on.
Yes.
Correct?
We have a VR session going on where students are actually walking alongside elephants. They're walking on the streets of Nigeria. They're also engaging in a dance. You see some of the kids right now are dancing. They're doing a traditional Nigerian dance with their VR sets.
And then also over here, they're developing, I guess, they're figuring out the mileage and what it takes to get from here to Nigeria and
yes.
stuff?
So they are doing a STEM activity where they are simulating a flight. They are creating their own paper airplanes out of straws and different types of paper and construction paper, and then they're going to fly them to see who goes the furthest.
And then also one last thing, which is really cool, once they get into Nigeria, they could go eat, I guess, right?
Yes. So we're also curating an experience for them to taste Nigerian food. So we have jollof rice, puff puff, and chin chin. Okay. So they're also tasting the foods from Nigeria so they can get a full experience of the Nigerian experience.
And so real quick, and with this going on, this is a part of a broader project. You guys are with a Purpose-Built Schools Atlanta, right? And Price Middle is one of 3 schools.
Correct. Purpose-Built Schools operates 3 APS schools, and one of them is Slater Elementary, Price Middle School, and Carverstein. So Purpose-Built Schools, one of the things that they are built upon is project-based learning. So across the whole campus, K through 12, we do projects, real-life, real-world projects that students can use to solve problems. We also have our STEAM coordinator here that can talk more about project-based learning if you need her to.
Well, I mean, just really, we don't have much time for you.
Okay.
Real quick, to wrap it up, but real quick, what do you hope these kids will come away with after they go through all this?
So what we hope our students will come away with is there's so many things. So of course we want them to be able to think critically on their own. We want them to be able to research. We want them to get the exposure to what is in their backyard. So we have Delta, there's careers, there's different opportunities for them to pursue in the airline industry. So we want to make sure that we have give them all the exposure, all the experience, and also build their critical skills so that they are ready for the workforce.
Awesome. Katoya Tyson, thank you so much.
Thank you.
She is the project instructor out here at Price Middle School, and that's what's going on here. At least these kids are getting a real world experience and also adding a little bit of STEM, exercises to it so they can better understand, what it takes. It takes gas, jet fuel to get out, to fly. And so giving them an all-around exposure to what it's like to, not only fly on an airplane, but get to your destination and what it takes to fly an airplane. And also what's really neat, they give them snacks. They give them snacks when they're on the airplane. And so these are the snacks. And, they give them everything, so these kids will know exactly what's going on if it's their first time flying. In this, the airline attendant comes down with the cart. Hey, get your snacks and pass it down. And this is what's going on. It's really cool, really neat.
I know. I love how they went
real world experience.
They went authentic on the snacks, which they didn't have to do. So you're right. I mean, even down to that, they thought of everything, which is pretty cool.
Oh yeah. I mean, they even have a real Delta airline attendant who partners with Virgin Airlines, and that's what's going on here. It's really cool.
Very nice. All right,
She's
Eli.
giving the safety check here.
Yeah. Thanks for showing us around. This is ultimate hands-on experience for those middle schoolers. So we appreciate the look. Eli, thank you. All right, still ahead for you this morning. It is day 9 of the Colin Gray murder trial. He is the father of the accused Appalachia school shooter. So we'll have more on that for you next. Welcome back, everyone, and thank you for being with us today. So we want to get into this Colin Gray trial. So it is now on day 9. Let's talk about what is happening so far this week and, of course, the backstory on why they are in court to begin with. But the reason we're not showing you what's happening in court at this moment is because they are showing, text messages, and soon they'll be showing video from inside of the school during the shooting, which they have asked us not to show you. So that's what's happening as we speak in court right now on day 9. But just to give you some background on what's going on and what's expected to happen, prosecutors will be calling final witnesses and also, like I mentioned, showing that school video today. The state is saying that Colin Gray is criminally responsible for his son's gun access, and prosecutors are expected to rest after today's evidence is presented. So this is a really big day in court. The trial of Colin Gray is expected to continue. Again, like we mentioned, calling their final witnesses today. This all dates back to the 2024 mass shooting that happened at Appalachia High School. So basically, this centers on whether Gray, who is the father of the accused gunman, bears criminal responsibility for allegedly giving his son Colt access to the semi-automatic rifle that investigators say he used in that attack that killed 2 teachers and 2 students and injured 9 others at the high school. Prosecutors have argued that the teen, quote, really had free access to guns in the home, and that's also something that we have heard corroborated by other family members as well, even to the point of having guns that he stored in his room, in his closet. So jurors have already watched portions of a recorded law enforcement interview that happened with Colin Gray. It was a couple of hours long, I believe, maybe 2 hours and 30 minutes of them speaking with him after the shooting at Appalachia High School. And they're saying that that's really key to this case. We've also heard, like we mentioned, from others who have testified. We've heard from Colt Gray's mother, and then we've heard from his sister as well. So let's listen to part of what Colin Gray's daughter testified on the stand.
Okay, so in the time you lived up in Winder, you think Grandma came to visit once or twice?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Not every month, for example?
No, sir.
Okay. Now, when you gave this statement in September of 2024, did they ask you about how everyone got along in the house?
Yes, sir.
Does that sound familiar?
Yes, sir.
All right. How did, if you remember, how did your dad and Coley get along?
I remember they got along pretty well.
Okay.
Yeah, they were close.
Did they ask you how you and your dad got along?
Yes, sir.
And what did you tell them, if you remember?
I don't remember.
Okay. Did they ask you how you and Colt got along?
Yes, sir.
Do you remember what you told them?
No, sir.
Okay. Do you remember if you told them whether or not he was annoying or pestering?
No, sir.
Do you remember if you told them that you were scared of him?
No, sir.
Do you remember if you told them whether or not he put a hole in your door?
No, sir.
Put a hole in the wall?
No, sir.
Do you remember if they asked you about whether or not people get in fights in the house?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Do you remember saying if fights to you are arguments or fights to you are physical altercations? Or are they both?
They're both.
Okay. So when you say fights, you can mean arguments, but you can also mean physical stuff as well, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. The arguments that were in your house, did they involve you? Like, were you one of the people arguing?
No, sir.
Was Coley one of the people arguing?
No, sir.
To have an argument, you usually need to have 2 people, right?
Yes, sir.
So the only 2 people left in the house are your dad and Cole, is that correct?
Yes, sir.
So that's where the arguments were?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Were they every day?
No, sir.
Do you remember telling the interviewer in September of 24 how often these arguments took place?
No, sir.
And since we know that your mom was up there at least one time or some of the times, were some of the arguments with your mom?
Yes, sir.
And I should clarify that. Not you and your mom, but your mom and Colt, for example.
Yes, sir.
Your mom and your dad, for example.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Do you remember saying that in regards to these arguments that Colt liked to instigate these arguments? What does instigate mean to you?
To just, kind of add like fuel to the fire almost.
Add fuel to the fire, okay. If you remember, did Colt ever start these arguments?
Yes, sir.
And do you remember telling the interviewer in that statement of September 24 that Colt could be mean?
I don't remember, sir.
Okay. Do you remember saying he would talk about how his life was a struggle?
No, sir.
About how he hates his dad?
No, sir.
Do you remember telling the interviewer that Colt didn't like the fact that he had trouble with bullies?
No, sir.
Did they ask you if you knew anything about the bullies?
We've been listening there to the daughter of Colin Gray testifying on the stand just to what she feels was going on with her brother in the home as well. So once again, this is day 9 of the trial of Colin Gray, and it's all to find out if he is criminally responsible for his son's gun access. His son accused of course, the shooting at Appalachia High School that left 4 dead and injured many others as well. So we're not showing you inside the courtroom once again right now because they are soon expected to show surveillance video of inside the school on the day of the shooting. So you won't be seeing much of what's happening in court. That's not to be shown to the public. But of course, we'll keep you updated on what happens on day 9 of this trial. But turning our attention now to some of our national headlines, former President Bill Clinton and former First Lady Hillary Clinton are set to testify on their alleged ties to Jeffrey Epstein this week. So Hillary Clinton's expected to give her deposition today, and Bill Clinton will follow tomorrow. Those depositions are part of the House investigation into Epstein. After months of resistance and negotiations, the couple made a deal with Republicans to avoid being held in contempt with the possibility of receiving criminal charges. And these depositions are supposed to take place near the couple's home in New York. They'll reportedly be transcribed and filmed. The Clinton names appear in the Epstein files multiple times, but there is no evidence of any wrongdoing. Meanwhile, the woman who is at the center of a landmark social media trial is expected to testify today. So she's known in court documents as KGM, and she'll be telling a Los Angeles jury, whether she believes apps like Instagram and YouTube, among others, harmed her mental health while growing up. So her attorney says that she was online almost constantly and says that she was exposed to all kinds of harmful content that contributed to self-harm and even sextortion as well. The trial against Meta and Google includes internal documents describing the platforms as addictive as drugs and slot machines is what they're saying to define them. And experts and advocates are arguing the case could set a precedent in holding these tech giants responsible and accountable for youth mental health impacts for the young users. So again, who we're talking about here, the plaintiff KGM, 20 years old, and will be testifying today. Her identity will be protected by the court. So Democrats are standing firm right now in blocking funding for the Department of Homeland Security. That is until, they say, Republicans agree to immigration enforcement reforms. The partial government shutdown we find ourselves in has already halted non-emergency FEMA work, and it could also delay disaster aid, while essential workers, including TSA employees, continue to report to work without pay at this time. Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer says negotiations have produced what he calls crickets. Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem warns that staffing shortages could force some changes when it comes to airport security. So it's been not huge impacts yet, but they're all saying these are things that we could start to see at airports if the government continues with this partial shutdown. Republicans, including House Speaker Mike Johnson, stressed that agencies like FEMA, the Coast Guard, and the Secret Service cannot operate effectively without funding. So for now, at least, the partial government shutdown continues. Well, now to the case that has just captured the attention of everyone. Of course, we're talking about the search for 84-year-old Nancy Guthrie, the mother of NBC's Savannah Guthrie, and it's entering its 4th week, which is pretty hard to believe. So investigators were back at her Tucson area home yesterday. They were examining the backyard and also the front door, because that is where blood was previously found. It looks like there's a vigil that's been set up. This a case that is captivated everyone. You just feel for the family. You pray that Nancy is found. So the FBI is saying that they've gotten more than 20,000 tips, including 1,500 new leads since Savannah Guthrie increased the reward to $1 million last week. So they are inundated with tips from the public. Authorities are continuing to analyze DNA and other evidence from the scene, while private searchers are being asked to give investigators space to work. There's been so many of private citizens who have stepped in to try to do what they can in the case. Pima County Sheriff's Department is saying detectives remain canvassing the neighborhood. They're collecting evidence, and they're looking into all viable leads. Savannah Guthrie continues to urge the public not to give up on the case and asking for prayers, for tips, and the like, emphasizing hope for the safe return of her mother, of course. Anyone with information is urged to contact the FBI or the Pima County tip line. But this continues stretching into its 4th week in the search for 84-year-old Nancy Guthrie. Well, still ahead for you on the stream. I didn't know this. It is Law Enforcement Appreciation Day at the state capitol. So we're going to have more on that in just a few moments. It is Law Enforcement Appreciation Day at the state capitol, and we have so much to be thankful for when it comes to those who serve all of us in these roles. The Governor Kemp delivered some remarks today, along with other lawmakers as well, and Fox 5's Billy Heath was there. He's joining us now with what was said and just, what's being celebrated today. So, Billy, good morning.
Hey, good morning, Elise. That's right. I'm outside the Capitol right now. The main part of this event happened inside the Capitol about 8:30 this morning, where several hundred law enforcement officers, that's local, state, and federal, gathered to be greeted by Governor Kemp, local leaders, and politicians here at the Capitol. A huge gathering of those law enforcement officers. And again, so Governor Kemp spoke to those officers, and we have some video from inside of the Capitol that I can show you. And the first thing you're going to see is Governor Kemp making a point to work his way around the room and shake those officers' hand and thank them for the service that they do. Now, on February 10th, Senate Resolution 739 was passed, and I can read a part of that to you. It says, whereas Law Enforcement Appreciation Day at the state capitol exists to honor the local, state, and federal law enforcement officers for putting their lives on the line every day and to commend them for everything that they do. And that was certainly the theme out here at the Capitol this morning. Now, go ahead and listen to those remarks from Governor Kemp, who also had something personal to throw in there this morning.
On behalf of the First Lady and I, we just want to thank you so much for what you do every day. I know, as many of you all know, we're now a law enforcement family with our daughter Lucy being a new state trooper, and we're not only praying for her every day as she serves, but praying for you all as well. We cannot thank you enough for what you do. When I look around the country and see how some other states treat their men and women in law enforcement, makes me sick, quite honestly. But I want you to know, as long as I'm your governor, I will have your back every single day for what you do out there. We will be praying for you and your family. I know that your family is a big part of your service, and I just want to thank them as well for that. It's my opinion that we have never had a better state-local law enforcement relationship with really all of our state agencies, from the State Patrol, CVE, our corrections folks, community supervision, just all our state game wardens, all our state law enforcement, with the relationships that we have with local police, sheriffs, and other law enforcement agencies. I cannot thank you enough for showing up today here at the Capitol to let the legislators know you appreciate their strong support, because it's not just us that's supporting you. It's the great leadership that we have in the building with the Lieutenant Governor, the Speaker. I know the Attorney General's here this morning, the members of the Public Safety Commission or committees with Senator Robertson and others, and just want to thank you for having a strong show of support. If we can be of service, I hope you'll let us know. God bless you. Stay safe out there, and let's keep chopping. Thank you for what you do.
And you heard the governor mention them, but also there speaking was Attorney General Chris Carr and Lieutenant Governor Burnt Jones offering their thanks and remarks to law enforcement. Now, one thing that I thought was interesting was they encouraged all those law enforcement officers gathered there to not be intimidated, but to go up to the offices of their local lawmakers and talk to them about the different laws and legislation being talked about at the Capitol. Because if you think about it, a lot of the laws that are passed impact the day-to-day sort of working life of these officers. So that was an important topic that was touched upon this morning. They also, of course, lined the Capitol steps there, took some photos. Also noticed a couple of K9 officers out there as well. So that was pretty neat. But Elise, back to you.
Yeah, you know, I did see those in the video, those K9 officers as well. So it was good to have them out there. Billy, too, a good reminder from the governor. I'd forgotten about his daughter Lucy serving on Georgia State Patrol. Yeah, pretty interesting.
Yeah, very cool, very cool. So it was definitely something personal to him.
Yeah,
to come out here and talk to the officers today.
Yeah, big thank you to our law enforcement officers, and glad they're getting recognized on this Law Enforcement Appreciation Day. So Billy, thank you so much for being out there at the Capitol and for showing us what happened out there. We appreciate it. All right, our time is 11:47 now, and a big donation from Kroger to HBCU food pantries. So we'll get into that next. Welcome back. Well, something you might not know, nearly 4 in 10 HBCU undergraduates reports food insecurity, so a bigger problem than many may understand. So students and Kroger associates are joining forces in order to address food insecurity among students, and our Chris Rosenthal is joining us live with what they're doing. So they're putting quite a bit of money behind this, which is great, Chris.
Yeah, absolutely. About $5,000 in food and $2,000 in gift cards here at this school, and then at other schools too across the southeast. I'm at Mimi's Pantry. This is actually a food pantry here at Clark Atlanta, meant to. It started in 2015 by the Lowry Foundation or by the Lowry Institute to address those food insecurities that you were talking about there. And Kroger's been a help and a big part of that, providing food for. To fill these pantries up. I'm going to kind of come around here, and as you can see, I mean, there's all kinds of food. We have vegetables, and we've got sloppy joes in the other room. There are a couple rooms here of food, and I've got Johnny here, Johnny Brown with Kroger. He's doing kind of some extra stacking here, and Johnny, if I could interrupt you here for just a second, tell me why you guys are out here today. Tell me about what this is all about.
Well, what we know is that 4 out of 10 students in HBCUs talk about food insecurities, and so a part of our mission, Zero Hunger, Zero Waste, is to make sure that we help out wherever we can. So today, in 5 of the divisions that we operate in, we are donating each one of the schools $5,000 in product and $2,000 worth of gift cards, so $35,000 to help in hunger. We're at Benedict College in Columbia, South Carolina, Payne College in Augusta, Georgia, Savannah State down in Savannah, Georgia, Tuskegee in Alabama, and here at my alma mater, Clark Atlanta University, and the the whole conglomerate here. All of the students from either Clark, Morehouse, Spelman can all come and get food if they need it. The biggest thing is it's hard to study when you're hungry, and so we're just trying to do our part. Not only do we do these in the colleges, we also have them in high schools around the city, middle schools, and elementary schools around. We built food pantries in a lot of our schools because kids come to school without breakfast, and so we're just trying to do our part.
And talk to me about some of the items you have here. I mean, it's a lot of healthy options and stuff that's pretty viable for them, huh?
Absolutely. I mean, we try to bring a variety of things because some of the students may live in an apartment, so they can cook canned goods, but then we have a lot of things that they can readily eat. We brought cereal, we brought tomato sauce, we've got beans, we've got rice, we've got peas, we've got corn. We've got quite a bit of things here that they can eat, and we support them more than just this one time. We've tried to support Mimi's Kitchen for a long time. A lot of times we would just bring food and pass it out in bags to the students, and that went well as well. But we thought it was a great chance to do this today at all of the HBCUs that operate in our division.
Gotcha. And non-perishable items?
Non-perishable items, yes. Yeah.
What does this mean as an alumni? What does this mean to you?
It means a lot. It means a lot because I remember coming to Clark College in 1976, back when it was Clark College, and on Sundays they only had one meal. You had breakfast and lunch, and then you had to get dinner on your own. And so I remember saving my milk in the wintertime, we didn't have refrigerators. I put my milk on the windowsill so it'll be ice cold, and we go over to the Krispy Kreme over in West End and buy donuts and come back. We had to find our own food on that Sunday afternoon, so it would have been good to have a pantry that we could have went to because it was a long time from 1 o'clock on Sunday to 8 o'clock on Monday morning.
Yeah, I mean that makes a big difference for these students to have a meal. It's hard to get, and when you're tight on cash, and like you said, it's hard to study when you're hungry.
Absolutely. So again, just trying to do our part to feed the human spirit. I am so thankful for all of the volunteers here today that came out to help stock the pantry. So
Yeah, it's quite an army, Johnny. Thanks. I'm gonna let you get back to it here because I know you got a lot of work to do. You've been here throughout the morning and into the early afternoon. They still have plenty more boxes of food to stock here. This pantry is open here from 1 to 5 on Tuesday through Friday here at the Clark Atlanta campus for really for any students who need it, who aren't on a full meal plan. They can come here and get a bag of food, get what they need, and really help feed themselves. It's Mimi's Pantry. This is actually, again, like I said, this is from the Lowry Institute. So Mimi's actually named after Evelyn Lowry. So just a wonderful cause here.
Yeah, it really is, Chris. And interesting what he said. It's not something you always think about, but that break and the weekend, you still have to eat. And so it's good to see that they're meeting students where they are and giving them some really good stuff while they're at it. So very, very good to see. All right, Chris, thank you so much for that. Our time now is 11:56. Got to get to this story really quickly, though. Actually, I don't think we have time. Do we have time to do Rock and Roll Hall of Fame? We don't. Okay, the nominees are out, so make sure you go look and see who is nominated for this year's Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Those will be officially awarded in April. But that will do it for us. We're out of time. Thank you so much for being with us here on the stream. We've got more news and some weather headed your way at noon, so sit tight.
Coming up on Fox 5 News at noon, the 9th day of trial for the accused Appalachia school shooter's father. We'll bring a look at the terrifying moments during the attack. We'll take a look inside the courtroom in just a few moments. Plus, 2 construction workers are recovering after getting hit by a car. It happened this morning. We're working to get the latest on the crash. Jonathan?
And heavy rain is moving into North Georgia as